So we usually, and we will today, we'll start with just a little bit of quiet time, a little bit of meditation, and I'll lightly guide a meditation. Um, I have a couple of books. I wrote a book on relationships, partnerships. Are you in a partnership or no?
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, and we really wanted to branch this out to include just more than, partnership or marriage or what have you, to include, um, you know, relatives, friends, caregivers, because everybody has different emotional relating styles. Attachment style is also an emotional relating style. Um, and just as a curiosity, do you all have any reference point for attachment style? Just so I know kind of where to begin. Paige, no, not really. You do.
I know about attachment parenting. I think that was
Great.
pretty much what we did.
Yes. Awesome.
Co-sleeping as a baby and just
Mhm.
a lot of that kind of stuff. Attachment parenting, not really hardcore, lay in your crib and cry it out type of mentality. That's wasn't us.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
I know it
about the
was
whole.
recommended by some, experts did kind of recommend that to let
Yeah.
your baby cry it out in the next room, but that
Yeah.
wasn't us. We did co-sleep. And plus it was easier, if you're nursing as well, it was
Yeah.
easier. And
Yeah.
care, baby wearing, that was part of it, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So then basically, conceivably, because you did attachment parenting, your son is what's called securely attached. So has a sense of, oh, I'm loved, I'm held. That's the whole reason. And of course, early on, there was the whole cry it out story. And, it just wasn't, in this country anyway, a thing to hold your kids
I
necessarily
know.
all the time or whenever they needed it, right? It's like, to have a secure attachment, it actually means that someone responded to you or you responded to your child or children 30% of the time with
Wow.
quality attention. 30%. It's not even
Wow.
that much, right? To have a secure attachment style. And yet, so many people in what's called the clinical population, which is people who've been in therapy, have an insecure attachment style, which means that this is like super just right, you know, diving in on the surface. Like, if you had a parent or if you as a parent, and we've all been distracted, and right now, right, we have all these phones, right? So people are holding their child and on their phone or
Hmm.
talking or whatever. And that doesn't give a child a sense of like, wow, someone's there with me, giving that quality attention. And that can create some anxiety, some anxiousness, wondering, is somebody there? This insecure anxiety. Um,
Yeah, and I would see that in the park where it's like a child, let's ride maybe a tricycle, and mom and dad are both looking at their phones, and the kids just he's in front of them. I mean, they're making sure he or she's safe, but just not really present with that experience
exactly.
for I feel like the child senses that.
They do. And it's
Yeah.
that presence that really makes all the difference in the world, you know. And then just the third primary attachment style is avoidant. And this is also how we show up in our relationships, which is, having this discussion here, and then how do we show up in our relationships? As are we, when somebody comes too close? So avoidant people who had an avoidant um, parent or a primary attachment figure, um, that person was either smothering them or just like pretty checked out. And they learned early on, I have to fend for myself. People who've been neglected, maybe not severe neglect. I mean, there's, of course, a range of, neglect and quality of attention. It's just someone who, for instance, their parent, and this is all formed in the first 18 months of life. So that is the most important time, as we know, in attachment parenting, to be present with our kids, because then you have people who just, they don't want to depend on anybody. They can't. So it's like trying to come close, and if you come too close, they'll hang out there, but then they'll get scared. And this might be you. I don't know. I don't know what kind of parenting you all had. Phyllis, you're from another generation. And I think, Cindy, you seem younger than I am. So maybe we're staggered generationally, and Paige is, of course, way younger. So hopefully she's got good parenting, conceivably.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Well, I'm a Gen Xer, a child of a silent generation. So,
Hmm. Yeah. So it'd be really interesting then to look at this and see, wow, how am I moving through my life? How am I relating to people?
mhm.
How easy is it for me to trust people? And how easy and is it not easy for me to trust people? What do I need to feel for it to register as love? Right? How do I feel loved? Do I need, for instance, someone who had a very distracted parent or a very kind of anxious parent? Maybe someone in the home was an addict. That creates a lot of anxiety in the space. And so maybe that person was very distracted because the mother or the primary caregiver, usually the mother, was scanning for danger. Maybe there was some danger in the house. Then the mother wasn't stable. And then I mean, this is a whole lot of stuff, which I'm sure, you have some reference for. Um, but just really like when you're with your child, they're co-regulating, they're lining up with your nervous system. That's why when we pick up our child, usually they calm down. We flew home from New York the other day, and there was a baby on the plane, probably like maybe a little less than 2, and this baby was crying a lot. Of course, it's hard to be on a plane, but the mom was soothing him, just continued to intend to soothe, because when we come into contact, oh, someone's there, right? Because in utero, they're co-regulating with our nervous system, with your heartbeat, with your breath, with your voice. So that's a little smattering about attachment, which is a deep conversation. And I'm just curious, as we're mothers, how this affects you, because it's so important to have a really strong team, a really strong support network of people, which maybe you have, maybe you had, maybe you didn't have. And how do we build a strong team by understanding, oh, this is what I need. Oh, this is what they need to actually show up. This is how we can actually show up for each other, because what I need, say in my relationship with my partner, is really different than what he needs, you know, and that's okay. He just needs to know, and I just need to know, okay, this is what you need when you're in a challenged moment, or this is what you need to feel like, oh, someone's there with me, which is really what we are all um, needing, essentially, at a very deep level, is to feel seen and heard and met with love, with presence. We meditate on that and see where it goes. So we're going to meditate for a little bit, and then we'll just do a little free writing, a little journaling, just to kind of digest, maybe 5 minutes of that. And then I'd love to see where this touches you and how this can support you. That sound good? Okay, great. So I'm just going to set my timer. I think 7 minutes feels good today. So you can make yourself comfortable. You can lay down, sit down, whatever works for you. Well, let's begin this meditation by getting really comfortable. You, as a rare mother, have carved out precious time from a very full life, a life where you spend a lot of time caring for others. And this is time for you. So breathe in and see if you can begin to let yourself settle. Settle into your own breath. allowing your breath to escort you into your heart, into a space of safety, of sanctuary. Just take your time. If at any point you need to shift your position or rearrange your body to be comfortable, please do that. Please take care of yourself. And if your mind is wandering into the list of things that need doing, see if just for right now you can put that list into a little basket beside you so that you can be the recipient of your undivided attention, of your own presence. And you might notice what happens in your body when you feel yourself here with you. Bringing your curiosity, just bringing curiosity about yourself. And what is it? How do you feel loved? How does love register for you? Do you need someone to hold you? And you can look back in time and see if you were held, if someone offered you their open, loving presence, if anyone listened, just noticing. And how do you feel loved in your partnership, relationship with friends, relatives? Or maybe you're someone who knows how to take care of yourself feels like they don't really need others very much. Perhaps that it's risky to depend on others. Just noticing. No judgment, no right or wrong, simply noticing. And then coming back, putting a hand on your heart, and either with words or without, let that younger part or all of those younger parts know that you are here now. Let those parts know that you are here now. Sending love to those parts that perhaps didn't get consistent quality of attention, or even if they did, sending love to those moments where they were missed, where no one responded. Wrapping them in a warm blanket of love. And then taking your time, breathing, and as you're ready, you can come back. Take your time. If it feels good, you can leave your hand or hands where they are on your body. I just want to say that this is a practice that you can do again and again and again. Really sending love, being open, receiving those parts that got skipped over at some point. Yes, and all your feelings are welcome. Let's just take a few minutes and just journal, just write what touched you in the meditation. And how do you feel loved? What makes you feel loved? Take 5 minutes. We'll come back together. So I'm just finishing up. If you're not already finished up, a little reflection. I'm curious, what what touched you? What landed? I saw that was stirring for you, Phyllis, in some way. You gotta unmute yourself, sweetheart, Phyllis.
I really liked this one. Cindy, I wanted to thank you because I know you weren't eager to talk about your son and everything. I want to thank you for doing that and tell you that when I look at you, I see him with you, even though I don't know what he looks like. But the thing is, now that I know about him and his age and everything, what is his name?
Jojo.
Jojo.
Great name.
Thanks.
The complete picture of you has him in it.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I didn't get to hear your intro. I'm sorry, because I came on a couple minutes late, but I was curious.
Well, I wrote something and I talked about my boys in here. So
Okay.
I'll just read what I wrote.
Okay.
Thank you.
In meditation, at first, I felt like I was back in the 60s and 70s with my 3 sons who died of Hunter syndrome. And I was reliving that I used transcendental mental meditation as my self-care tool. That was the one time when I was completely focused on myself. And so experiencing that reminded me of that. And then I thought, now I don't have my boys. They passed away at ages 12, 18, and 19. But I have a wonderful husband who, well, he's not even my husband anymore, because after they got sick and everything, we separated and got divorced, but we always remained friends. And then when he was a widower and I was a widow, we got back together. And now we're getting old, we're 78, and taking care of each other. And I'm a caregiver again. And I thought, I can use meditation now. See, I've just been relying on Laura for my meditation every week. But that's only once or twice a week. And so I can use meditation every day like I used to as my self-care thing. And what makes me feel loved is that he loves and appreciates what I do. He loves me. And also my well daughter, Crystal, and my well son, Adam, they show their love by coming here and taking care of their aging parents. So that's how I feel loved.
Wow.
And I was able to write that, and I haven't been able to write. I'm getting back to where I can write again. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura.
Wow.
Paige, thank you for all your support and love.
You're so welcome. It's so good to be here with you, Phyllis, and for you to be able to share your life experience and what you've walked through and how you've navigated it and how your heart is still so open. It's quite miraculous.
Thank you, Laura. And I just want to quickly say what you talked about in the beginning was really appropriate, because this morning my husband and I were talking about that. I remember being 7, 8 years old and laying in bed all day alone with kind of like the flu, because my parents were working in the aerospace industry, and they had to go to work, and they left me alone. And today you'd get in trouble for that, but
You
back
would.
then, and I was looking at the knot holes on the bed, but there was nobody there to take care of me. And what you talked about this morning helped me. My mother died when I was 4 years old. So my whole childhood was, and I was an obnoxious child. So my whole childhood was like technically abandonment. And I can see many things. I learned many things from you talking about what you talked about. And thank you, Cindy, for listening, even though you experienced some of that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, what a story. That's pretty impactful. I got chills when you were sharing down my legs. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here today.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Next time I'm going to have to be more private. I am kind of still in the central location because that's my role still. So I'm staying kind of 1 foot in the main hub of the household.
Which is
Doing my
your
best.
life, right? This
So
is
you've
like,
probably seen my eyes darting here, and we're a multi-generational household. So my mom, I'm a sandwich generation person. So my
okay.
mom lives with us.
Oh, wow. Well, so
It's
you've got a
That's all
lot on
okay.
your plate, and it's all okay. Absolutely. It's great that you're here. Like, to be here with, 1 foot in the hub of your life there and still be here is, I mean, actually that's what's real.
Yeah, and you're right. You have to. You're never gonna, if you, when you're real busy with life, and then you can't wait. It's like writing, because I like writing too, and I think that's always been shoved to the side because I'm waiting for the perfect free time so I can feel the muse and be alone. But no, I just need to do it, like wherever I am, even if that means jotting notes here or there. And it's kind of probably the same way with self-care, and I think that's how I do it. If it's 10 or 15 minutes walking around the block, or
Exactly.
just being by myself, or being on a phone call and sitting on the porch with a friend or something like that, that's kind of how it is. I never really have super long stretches of time where I can really do self-care and like that. So
My doctor's on the phone. I have to.
oh
okay,
yeah.
Phyllis. Yeah, take your call.
Sorry.
It's okay, honey. So Cindy, tell me, were you able to be in the meditation at all?
I was for a little
In and
bit, but
out?
I had to remind my mom that she needed her medication before she went to take her siesta. And so I had to catch her as she came out of the bathroom before she headed upstairs. And so so then I came back and I had to get my notebook. But yeah, I was able to jot a few things down. But I think I have a lot of the standard what makes me feel loved answers, that Phyllis shared some of it, being heard and appreciated and things like that. But I say a lot lately, and I say it kind of jokingly, that but I think, and I'll tell you what it is in a minute, but I think what I'm trying to say is that I do need to take care of myself more, because what I say is I need a Cindy, because everybody has a Cindy, and
everybody in your world has a Cindy.
Everybody in my world has a Cindy,
and
I
you
don't have
do
a
need
Cindy.
a Cindy. You
I'm
are
always,
you are your Cindy.
I say it jokingly, like I need a Cindy, and especially when I'm old, like I joke with my mom, I'm like, well, I'm not going to have a Cindy, like you have. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll have to just live, till I'm 120 in good health. But I think too, it's a funny joke to say it, to let people, it's a way of kiddingly reminding people, that, they have this good care. But also I think this reflection kind of reminded me that what it is to me is I just need to I do have a Cindy because I am Cindy. So I just need to turn that inward more and take care of myself more because I am so outwardly focused on other people's needs. And I've always been like that. It's kind of also part of my nature, but it's also a role that was kind of thrust upon me, but it's also my nature, like I'd be taking care of, I don't know, more animals probably if I didn't have people, and we do have animals, but I probably would be doing it anyway. But and then people always say, well, God chose you. You're for your role as a parent because you are who you are. Well, no, not really. I think I rose to the occasion, and anybody
You
would
did.
grow into the role. It's not a special chosen person for the role. It's you grow into it because you have to step up and you have to do what you have to do, and that's what I did. So, but and people sometimes want to say, well, I couldn't do all that. You probably could if you started, when your child was a baby. You could too. Do what you have to do.
You do what you have to do. So then so that's a great realization or reflections. Like, I need a Cindy. And so how will that appear for you? Like, how can you actually start to, because it's a different muscle, right? Having your awareness outside and like, okay, mom needs this, my son needs that, this person needs that, the animals need that. This is all, it's like if you look at it as maybe, imagine it's like a light and it's shining outside, right? It's like a spotlight. It's like, then I take it and I rotate my spotlight inside toward myself. And then how do I do that? And that's what we did in this meditation. So I really recommend that you repeat this meditation if you have time or space. No, it's perfect. Cindy's being interrupted right now because this is actually how it.
Sorry, it's another.
This is real, but this is what's actually
important day part. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm back.
Okay. So yeah, so just doing this, you could even repeat this meditation. These meditations live on Mighty Networks, so you can listen to them anytime. And this one particularly is because when we do all need a Cindy, right? And we actually need ourselves to be tending to ourselves, because when we don't, when we do, those parts that didn't get tended to when we were little, and probably sounds like aren't really necessarily getting tended to right now, they're getting fed. It's almost like the last thing I wrote in my little reflection was, it's like we're feeding those parts of ourselves that are hungry and thirsty, and they don't even know where to go for food and drink. They don't even know where to go. Well, where to go is this rotation of our attention, of our Cindy, our Phyllis, our Padma, our Paige, our Crystal, toward ourselves, that we really make that time. And using your adult hand, because you may or may not know, the heart meridian runs down the arms and into the hands. So that's why, all body work and healing work and all this, is done with the hands mostly. And so when you just place your hand on your heart, you're actually, you're making this connection, you're sending this love, you're connecting hand to heart. And also even the feeling, and I really like to work a lot through the body, so you can feel the weight of your hand. You can feel, is my hand warm? Is my hand cool? Does it feel good to rest it really lightly? Or do I need, sometimes for me, oftentimes when I want a hug, I don't want this little like pat, pat, pat hug. I want to be just grab me, squeeze me, hold me, like really literally hold me tight. Like we have to hold ourselves tight. And then in our primary relationships, we have to discover, how do I get held tight? First, I hold myself tight. And then how do I relate to this other person? So I'm curious, in this last little bit of time, how can you approach your partner, your husband, your, best friend to get that? Like, do you know how to approach them? Do you even know what you need? Because sometimes we don't even know what we need. And oftentimes when we get reactive, triggered, it's because actually I just need some attention. But instead, these parts that didn't get it are sort of, they lash out or they pull back, or they shelter. You're both nodding with the sheltering. So how does that work for you? Is that a clear question? And if it is, how does that work for you? If it isn't, ask me because I'll clarify.
I'll let Phyllis take that one.
Well, Crystal helped me to see that, like my son-in-law, her husband, shows his love by cooking.
Mm-hmm.
If he has cooked a meal for you, pay attention and appreciate it, because he is putting out his love for you. And so I got to thinking about that. And my husband, he wants to build everything for me. He builds me a house, he builds me a room. And if I say something about something, he says, well, I could put a shelf up there and then you could put stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how he expresses his love.
Mm.
I'm a very physical, huggy person. And so I give them hugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that qualifies, but I used to write things, but I've not been writing as much because I think I'm too busy, but I think I should write anyway. That's
Thank you. I'm hearing that, first of all, I'm hearing that you want to write. Not that you should write, but that really that you want to write. And I also heard that from you, Cindy, that writing is something that really nourishes you. So when we realize, oh, this nourishes me, right? It's like with the food. If you realize a certain food is very nourishing for you, you eat it, right? Whether it's like greens or avocados or apples or berries or whatever you like, So I'm really going to suggest that you just take a few minutes. And, there's the process of the artist's way and morning pages, and just taking a few minutes, just even they say 20 minutes, 3 pages, but even if it's 5 minutes, just wake up and just getting, exercising that muscle, tapping into that part of you that really has things that she wants to express. So
I want to write to Cindy.
I want to stay in touch because I have questions for you too. I was going to ask you about transcendental
beautiful.
meditation. I've been so interested in that, and if it didn't cost like $5,000 for lessons these days, probably when you learned it in the 60s, it was more affordable. But now it's outrageous. What?
It was only $75 then.
It's so expensive now.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I used to
it's several thousand.
$20.
Well, maybe Phyllis, you could teach Cindy how. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time.
Maybe, but I have read that you're supposed to go get like your own mantra from the teacher, right?
From the teacher,
so it's kind of a thing she could probably teach me, but I'm still supposed to. How does that
work? Mantra.
Maybe we can talk about it after. But yeah, how do they look at you?
I love that.
How do they come up? Is it something about you? And then they say, you need to, this is your word because it encapsulates you. I don't know how they do it, but I'm interested. So I'd love to talk to you more about that and other stuff.
Beautiful.
I don't use TM now. I use Laura.
Okay. Who's Laura? Is that
you meditate with me? You mean Padma?
Yeah.
Padma, are you Laura?
I'm sorry, Padma.
It's so funny because Phyllis, you were intuiting. My given name is actually Laurel from a million years ago.
Oh.
So maybe you were just feeling that sort of Laurel feeling in the space. Well, you can use meditations here. Also, I just want to say, Cindy and Phyllis, there's an app called Insight Timer. It's free.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they have thousands and thousands. I have a whole bunch of meditations up there, but there are literally, 100,000 meditations on there. And you do have to kind of search around and find the teachers that you resonate with, but you can really learn, and they have live meditations every day. I'm doing one tomorrow at 9 a.m. I mean, I do it a couple times a month, but people do them every day, all day, because it's people all over the world. You can always go on there and it's like, someone's offering meditation. Okay, let me just drop in here for a few minutes. You don't even have to commit.
Yeah, you're right about the two. It's like a muscle with meditation and writing, and it's like I'm trying to work out to, as I get older, have a strong body. So even that, I'm trying to do that, whether it's walking or going to the gym and doing weights. That's even hard to try. If I really focus on myself, my body, which will help my mind and it'll help a lot of things, emotions,
Absolutely.
even that. Yeah. But if I do that, it really takes a couple of hours a day and it's difficult, to find that consistently. So I do the best I can. So then the writing and the meditation, which is equally important, gets kind of shoved away. And I remember being in the shower and I took a bath and it was real relaxing. It was probably last week and I hadn't written in a long time, but like Phyllis, I feel so good when I write. I think, God, why don't I do this more often? It's great. But I was in the shower bath and then I was like, I feel like writing. Oh my God, I feel like writing. I'm going to write. But then kind of stressful things happened after I got out. And then it took me in a whole different area and I never got to write. And I was like, well, now I don't feel like writing now because I'm all stressed. And so, that moment was gone and it didn't come back, and it's the first time I'd had it in a while. But anyway, yeah, so it's like a muscle and priority. But I do so many webinars since COVID about things relating to like my son that I should just, eliminate some of that and put it more towards myself, and it is just a shift and saying, it's okay to do that. You don't have to do, because there's so many webinars now,
You don't need to
and
take 100 webinars. It
know.
sounds like you've taken so many. Why don't you just
I
take some
know.
time
I
to
know.
reflect and integrate and harvest what you've learned on the
And what I
webinars
need
and
is
then let it
output.
just, yeah, that's what
I've
I
been
get. Because
listening.
writing
Yeah.
is so integrative. You're just like
Yeah.
input, input, input. You want to have
Yes.
some integrative time, which is downtime, which is moving, which is writing, which is meditating. That's all very integrative. And I also just want to say, like, even though the moment of inspiration was gone, when you're like, oh, I want to write,
Yeah.
you can write when you're mad. You can write,
I know.
I am pissed that my time got taken. Like, you're allowed
Yeah.
to have your feelings and your experience.
Yeah, but I was
just,
going to work on my story, my book that I was working on. And so not journaling. I mean, but
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think
yeah. Oh,
getting through the
wonderful.
journaling is, yeah, it's probably important getting there as well. Be careful, Joe. Joe. Oops, sorry.
That's okay. I mean, the only other thing I would say, because I'm really hearing, Cindy, that you, oh,
Sorry, Padma. Go ahead. I'm back.
that's okay, that you're really wanting that time for yourself. So less webinars and schedule yourself in. I know it can change, of course, it often changes, but schedule yourself in. And then I don't know if your husband or partner, or anyone else, your mom, can just be there with Jojo and,
Yeah, my husband and I balance pretty well. Yeah.
it's great.